Hey friends, welcome to the eighth episode of Random Cloud Chats powered by Learn to Cloud. The Cloud Duo is back, and unfortunately, we are not in person.
Back to
It
remote.
was back to remote, fiddling around, Discord, OBS, because we have
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, because we recorded the last two episodes in person. It was so much
Hmm.
fun. Um, if you haven't checked it out, go check them out. They're really good episodes. One of them is on cloud certifications, which we get a lot of questions about. But yeah, today we wanted
They're
to talk
popular, man.
about some news that we have, some updates when it comes to the economical situation of how the tech industry has been.
Hmm.
And then we also want to talk about DevRel or developer relations because
Hmm.
I've been getting a lot of questions since I think we share the same background here too, where we were, kind of in cloud engineering or
Hmm.
roles, and then we moved to totally different domain known as DevRel. So
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of questions there from the community. So we are here to answer them.
Yep, for sure. How's mental health? How you doing?
Uh, Six. I want to say six. It's. I think we September is one month where it's gets chaotic because there's
Yeah,
just too much going on. Um,
yeah.
for me, I have some news to share, which we'll dive into deeper later.
Hmm.
But so starting with that, and then also the work that I do for Twilio.
Hmm.
I was traveling, and now I'm traveling again, so I have to be in Boston. So yeah, a lot of things, a lot of projects going on at the same time. So it gets a bit um, overwhelming to keep reminding
Hmm.
yourself of things that you have to show up to.
Yeah,
But yeah, how about you?
yeah. I think we'll dive more into that with the topic of today.
Mhm.
With because I think part of DevRel is just having so many projects going on, and your
Yeah.
role to a different capacity in each project.
Mhm.
I'm at like a 6 right now too, just because like September is just a chaotic month. If just for context, like with advocacy at Microsoft, especially this type that I do,
Mhm.
the stuff that we're executing in the current month was stuff that we started planning maybe 3 months ago.
Yes.
So, and then at the same time, we're executing stuff, we're going and planning and organizing stuff for the next couple of months as well. So it's never like one thing
Mm.
that we can focus on.
Mhm.
Um, but between that and September, no, October, November being just the craziest season for us, there's a lot going on. I'm kind of getting settled back into routine here and finally feeling like I'm settled into my new place and whatnot. But yeah, overall, just a lot going on. So I'm a 6, but the good thing is that I know how to get myself back to sort of like a normal state. I think I'm typically like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So 6 is kind of like an odd number for me, but yeah,
Yeah. I've seen that.
cool.
It's like you've entered this Zen era of a personality
Mm.
within like um this year, I would say.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely, dude. It was a
which
massive
is
change.
yeah, like you regularly work out, you have, a proper schedule, you're killing it in your role, which you have always been. Like
Oh,
I
thank
guess one of the work ethic, like you have a great work ethic, and
you.
that's what is kind of inspirational. But with that, you also need to keep sure that you stay sane, right? So you have
Yeah.
to find a good balance, which I think I, especially after I lived with with Gwen for a week, I
A
kind of
week.
saw
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, she has everything figured out. She,
I
is
was.
she has a good balance in life, and no, it's good to see that. But yeah, that's great if you're 7 or 8. But yeah, I could see how busy September is for you, and um, still a rating of 6 is pretty good. Dealing with
Yeah.
such amount of workload and chaos. But yeah.
If it gets below a 6, that's when I would start to
Hmm.
worry, and I feel like people around me who know me would start to worry as well.
Yeah.
But for now, we're same for you, dude. Like if you were ever like and I'm not surprised that you're at a 6, but because I have a context of what's going on in your life, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. But we're both. It's interesting that we're both kind of like at similar places, but
Yeah.
we'll see how we're doing next week. But anyway, how's your week been? What have you been up to? You have some interesting news, I know.
Yeah. Week's been good. So I've joined the college that I graduated from with a 2-year diploma
awesome.
as a professor teaching cloud. A lot of people had a question on how I landed this opportunity. It's basically that they reached out last year and I talked to Gwen about this, but the course that they were looking for was different. So it was same diploma or same program that I did, but the course that I would be teaching was different. And I was also joining Google at the moment, so I'm like, this will be chaos, and onboarding at 2 jobs would be difficult. Yeah, even though the teaching or the professor gig is part-time, but still, especially I'm glad I didn't accept that in December, because the Google experience like took a really
It probably
took
would
a
have been
hit.
way worse
It would have been way
if you
worse.
were onboarding in the professor gig and Google. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, dude. That was a good call.
And so this semester they reached out, which started just in September, and the course was cloud. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's a good fit for me. Being cloud advocate.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to teach and go back and link up with the faculty that taught me once. So it was
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's also great to see that they have cloud in the curriculum now. So they added it, I think, a year and a half ago. So since I graduated, cloud was not in the curriculum, and that was one of the like requests and things that a lot of students, after they have found a career, said you need to include this in the curriculum, because just how the industry has changed over the years. So that is great to see. But yeah, that was the kind of career update. And yeah, I had my first lecture yesterday, so that
How
went
was
pretty
that?
good. I was a bit
How did you
nervous.
feel? Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Especially because you are the one who will initiate things. Like there was
Yeah,
this
it's up to
bunch,
you.
yeah, a bunch of
Yeah.
students just waiting for me to like speak
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
And given how laid back I am, it can be hard sometimes, because I don't want to come out as non-interesting or like boring stuff like that. You always have that fear in mind. So yeah, I think I did good. I took a little bit of spin because someone from the college suggested that if you just don't list your professional accomplishments, keep your introduction more personal, so students can connect more. So I did include what I like doing apart from just exploring cloud. It's also like I play volleyball, soccer, so things like that. A little bit of icebreaker questions, but yeah, it was fun. The cloud provider we are going with is AWS, so it'll be fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I was happy to see a lot of people celebrating you.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like that photo that you took of like your badges, that was so sick, dude.
Thank you.
That was
Yeah.
so freaking sick. Cause again, and I say this often, like you're not one to celebrate your own accomplishments just because you're just such a humble dude. But I was very happy to see everyone sort of supporting you, and it's just another reason to look up to you. And I don't know, it's just so cool. Like, so yesterday I shared this reel I saw of Tyler the Creator. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
in the story, yeah.
Yeah, like share your stuff, like support your friends. Like, people put in so much work to do the things that they accomplish. Like, of course you're going to be out there showcasing it. So, this in a way, this podcast is a way of us kind of celebrating each other.
Yeah.
And especially like someone like you. So congrats on that. I'm glad it went well. I know it's going to take time away from other things that you have already been doing and whatnot. And I know it's probably adding to your, to the reason why your mental health check is at a 6.
Yeah.
But you recognize all of that, and but at the end, in long term, it's going to be something that's worth it. Not just for you as a professional, but also for, students.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just think it's like a really cool thing to say that you're a professor. So That is awesome. But I know you have other things that you've been working on this week and updates and whatnot. So
Yeah.
want to share?
Sure. So I was invited to this Amazon hackathon that was happening in Toronto. Is happening this
just
weekend.
Invited?
Yeah.
Like recent? Yeah.
So it's happening this weekend. There was an informational session yesterday. Me and my brother-in-law, he's also, an AWS fanatic.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We attended the information session. We didn't know there was, a ticket involved, or you have to get tickets and stuff, which we forgot. Because we were just invited to the information session, and now there's a ticket for tomorrow and the after tomorrow. But
Cool.
The cool thing is you are invited to the Amazon office to participate in a hackathon, which I was looking forward to because I've never been to one in Toronto. And I also have the app idea for this hackathon, which would be cool. And the thing is, now I'm talking to the organizers to get us tickets because I'm like, we are invested in this, and there's already some code that I've written, and my brother-in-law has kind of crafted what the app would look like, what we are trying to solve. But the only thing is, we are awaiting on the decision if we would get tickets. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have this project, create a blog post and post it on YouTube because it's a cool project. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll see if I hear back today. And then I have a Twilio Superclass coming up on September 20th in Boston.
Yeah.
So I'll be in Boston.
I wanted to go to Boston, but literally the day that day I also have an event so early. If it was a little later, I could have easily made it, but Boston is a cool place.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a good tech scene, so I think you're gonna have a good time. But
yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, and some YouTube stuff that has been going. So
you got a new vlog today.
I got a new vlog. Our co-working session at the Microsoft New York office. It was good. Great.
It's cool
food.
to see our different takes, because it was the same day, but different takes. Like it was. I encourage people to go watch like your vlog and then go watch mine, and it's the same day but from like different perspectives and different styles and stuff like that. I think it's just so neat. But yeah, that was awesome. I know you had other videos.
I think I posted about this a few days ago when I was we were kind of starting the September stuff, and I saw like 6 videos were posted in August on my channel, so I was really happy because the last time I did something like this was 5 videos, and I think it was like
May. No.
Yeah,
June?
May. I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
And I was just like, okay, this is crazy and it was not all vlogs. I get it. Majority of them were vlogs, but there were 2 technical videos. So I'm really happy that I push to these limits, and I didn't even realize I'm publishing like 6 videos for the month of August. But
yeah, dude,
I think we just keep each other pushing. I know you have been doing a lot of videos now. Where you don't have any proper like schedule. It's just sit down, record, publish. Sit down, record, publish.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I should be a little bit more strategic with it because I know without having a schedule, I'm essentially impacting my metrics and whatnot. But it's not that I don't care about that. Whenever I have an idea, I just sit down. I'm like, I just want to code this up like right now and whatnot. But yeah, I don't even know which videos I have on there. I think the stuff like I have Serverless September interview with Linda Nichols, which I highly recommend people check out. Her story is so freaking cool because she started in help desk and she now works at Microsoft. She's a global black belt. But she started in help desk and then she rewrote the help desk software, and that's what got her into software engineering.
Oh my god.
And then they retired that system just a couple of years ago. She started back in like the late 90s. And they recently retired that system that she built as someone just brand new on the help desk being like, oh, I could write something better. Like, so, there's no better story than like kind of like finding your own way. And then, so she had dropped out of college, got that help desk gig. Later in a couple of years after that, she went back to college, finished her degree, finished her master's and stuff like that. So such an interesting story. That's on my channel. For Serverless September, we've kicked it off, which is great. There's a hack people can do. I highly recommend that for anyone looking to get to spice up their resume, because you also get to get featured on our Hall of Fame, which essentially means you're doing a contribution to an official Microsoft repo, which is also always good to have on like your GitHub. So check that out. Check out we have live streams each Wednesday? Yeah, each Wednesday of this month. You're going to be on the one on the 21st, where we're going to be showcasing some projects that we've built with serverless technology. In terms of Serverless September, it's like so much to get to catch up and to get your hands on if you want to. So check that out. I'll have everything linked in the show notes and whatnot. I finally submitted a PR for my Azure developer template, and I'm hoping to get it completely done before September ends, because it's a serverless one, so it would be very fitting. But I got comments back on there. There are a couple of things I need to work on that I'm pretty straightforward that I could get done over the weekend. There's one thing that's in the back of my mind that I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to tackle that, but by next week, I'm pretty sure I'll have more figured out. So I'll share more updates then.
Awesome.
Then I guess new content for me is my apartment tour is on there. The interview with Linda Nichols is on there. I updated my 7-day YouTube starter kit. Check that out if you want to get into YouTube. And then, how I organize my day, how I use Microsoft To Do and then Calendar to organize. If you all saw that video, you'll see I have 8 projects currently going just for work. That's outside of YouTube. That's outside of Learn to Cloud. That's outside of this podcast. And that is outside of what I do for myself, like, family, relationship, social life, exercise, all that kind of stuff. So having a really simple but reliable to-do system and planning is very important for me. So I made that too. But that's a week recap, I think. Also, we're recording this on a Friday, which I was going to tell you, dude, I don't know. I kind of like it because it's like the end of the week.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because we usually record on Tuesdays, but we had to push stuff out because I was sick for a couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was going to be too late. We were going to be too tired. But anyway, but if we have like a different tone, or if we feel like we're recapping the week, it's because it's the end of the week. So
yeah, we have more stuff to talk about.
We have more stuff to talk about. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's dive into some news. I want to call this segment This Week in Tech News That We Kind of Care About. I know it's really long, but it's very fitting because we don't care about all tech news, and we're not here to report on every single thing that happens in tech, because we don't really
news
care about
podcast.
Yeah. But I feel like there is some interesting news that like sticks out that I do want to kind of bring up, and more so because we can share like our own insight into like, oh, what if this happened to us? Like, what would we do and whatnot? For sure. So the first one is, this was a pretty big one, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but Snapchat, or I think they just go by Snap now, Snap Inc. or something. They laid off 20% of their staff, which I don't really know how many that is, but it sounds like a big amount. Okay. And they had purchased this app called Zenly, which it's not really big in the US, but it's sort of like a location-based social media network, and it was big in like different areas, that Snapchat wasn't popular in the first place. So they laid off that entire team, which I think was like 70 people, and the majority of them were based in France. And I think it's all due to them. They reported numbers like that were low compared to what was expected from them. So, they're trying to cut down expenses and whatnot. But for me, the interesting part was this question about when a company gets acquired. Like, have you ever worked for a company that got acquired, and did that change something for you? Or do you feel like if you worked at a company that got acquired, what would change for you if that were to happen?
Definitely, yeah. That happened with Printfleet. So I joined Printfleet mid acquisition talks were happening in help desk. By the time I was interested in getting into cloud, the acquisition did finish. So there were, positive things like, they wanted to grow the cloud team, and they saw me as a good candidate. I was given that chance, and we moved forward. So the promotion side of things and the team that I wanted to join was doable because, the company was a bigger company now. Okay. Because of the acquisition, right? There were other things, like cultural shifts that happened within the company. Yeah. So going from, 35 to 40 person company, now it's a 500 to 1,000 people company. I don't remember the exact number. Yeah, so all of the developers now are, part of a bigger developer organization,
Mm-hmm.
and you have R&D, you have QA, you have this huge operations team, which included
Yeah.
cloud and DevOps,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of, as I told when I was in help desk, I was able to like kind of go up to anyone and be
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to be a QA engineer. Can I see, what a week in your life looks like?
Yeah.
And I did that. Like I went and shadowed a QA engineer for 3 days. Same thing with developers. Like I went and shadowed like a senior developer who was, by the way, building AWS architecture using IAM, so
Mm-hmm. Cool.
infrastructure as code. And that's how I got interested in cloud. Is I saw him like, what you're doing is like, oh, this is IAM. You basically define
I
code.
see.
IC. You basically
Yeah.
define code. You write code to define your infrastructure. I'm like, this is cool. And then I was interested in what is cloud. So he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend you shadow the cloud team. So that kind of culture of openness and just being willing to just go and talk to someone because the team was smaller and everyone
Yeah.
was there was no silos that you were working in.
Mm-hmm.
um that kind of got like it went away because
Yeah.
now you have different brackets of leadership. You
Mm-hmm.
have bigger
Absolutely.
teams, you have more projects to work on, everybody is
Mm-hmm.
busy because you have more tight deadlines.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I felt when that acquisition happened
Mm-hmm.
on a personal
But it
level.
worked out for you.
It worked out, yeah.
Right, right, right. Yeah, definitely. I have sort of like the flip side where the company that I was at acquired another company.
uh
So we were originally at I was a sysadmin and then cloud engineer at this company. We were originally around 40 people or so,
hmm
and we then acquired a company that was larger than us, which is interesting. And then
okay.
that turned into maybe like 200-ish people. And as soon as the acquisition happened,
hmm
the culture immediately changed, of course. And then the thing is, like, culture doesn't scale from like that small size to like medium to large. It's just really tough to replicate
It
because
is.
at the smaller size, we were like the majority of us were in office for the majority of
Mm.
the week. We could walk up to each other's desks. We could play ping pong together. We could like, a bunch of different activities and whatnot. But at larger scale, and having we had team members in different countries and stuff like that. Like
hmm
it's tough. Like that goes away, right? But then also like the focus can shift. All these kinds of things. Like I saw a bunch of things happen, and then for me that was sort of the pivot for like, okay, I want to go to like another place. I want to be in a different role and whatnot. Um, so it definitely changes. It changes the work for
It does.
it, like I don't think it's ever correct to say an acquisition will not change your work or your way or your day to day. Like maybe the role itself won't change, but something with the culture will change. Something with the focus will change. Something your team will like team members might change. All these kinds of things, right? So it's not like nothing will be impacted with you
hmm
if there's an acquisition. I think that's tough. Like, but whether it is something good or bad, that's completely up in the air.
Yeah.
So that depends case by case for sure. But yeah, anyway, following Snap doing that, I think they did something that was really cool,
Yeah.
and which also leads me to another question, which is sort of related to being
hmm
acquired.
hmm
Is like because when there's acquisitions, there tends to be layoffs.
Yes.
But they created this like talent hub thing, and I think Airbnb did this like when they had layoffs a couple of years ago, and then I think Uber also did this. But they created like this official talent hub where you could opt in to be listed as like, oh, open for work kind of thing, and it was an official Snapchat thing, like, oh, we have these awesome employees that we had to lay
Engineers and
off, yeah,
employees
and
that
whatnot,
you can
yeah,
hire. Yeah.
yeah, and then like check out our talent hub and whatnot, which I think is a nice thing to do. But there was also, and I looked this up, like an interesting severance package, and I only looked for people in the U.S. because that's where I'm based. But there
hmm
was 4 months pay. I think there was also healthcare coverage until sometime next year, which is great. Healthcare in the U.S. is an absolute mess. I know countries outside of the U.S. have it way better than us,
Yeah.
but it's a big deal to have healthcare here
hmm
because it's not. I mean, there is like public healthcare, but it's not the best. And if you want
Okay.
like decent decent healthcare here, you're gonna need to have like private insurance through usually through an employer.
I see.
So the fact that they're offering that through sometime next year, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think they have like mental health benefits and whatnot and stuff like that. So my question here is, and sort of like an opportunity for us to reflect on it, is how do you think you would handle being laid off? Or have you been laid off? And if you haven't, how do you think you would handle it?
To be honest, it'll be tough because, I've not been in that situation. I know it'll be stressful for sure. But also given the fact, I think there are like a couple of aspects of life that will hit. So first would be, I do have, a good public profile when it comes to, okay, I get let's say I get laid off tomorrow. Knock on wood, I don't. But hypothetically, I get tomorrow. So the first things I will do is, reach out to my contacts and the network that I've built over the years, especially the ones that I have worked with really closely. So I think that is how that's how I would tackle being unemployed. And if I stay unemployed for too long, like I know some people have, they go insane or, you don't have much to do because you're sitting at home. I think I'm covered on that too because, I could focus on my YouTube. We do have this podcast. I have a couple of things to keep me busy. And that's where my professor gig also comes into play because, I'm working part-time there. So I think second aspect would be financials. And I think I'm fortunate to say that, that I'm at a place where, I do have some money saved up. I have a part-time gig that, can cover my day-to-day expenses. If not all, at least, food and rent. And then, third would be just dealing with the fact that I was laid off. And then, we talked about this in a few episodes. It's something that, it's not in your control. It's, at the end, they're all businesses, whether it be Google, Microsoft, or Snap.
No matter how much money they have, it's all business at the end of the day.
And, let's say Julio says, Canada has been rough for us. We haven't made enough money. We don't see having a developer evangelist in Canada, feasible. So, But that's my take on how I think my thought process would be if I do get laid off. How about you?
I've never been laid off. But I think now I would probably go in on YouTube and I would probably try my absolute best to make that a full-time thing for me.
Yeah.
And this podcast and all the kind of things that we have, I would go in on Learn to Cloud, going on this, going on YouTube. And I would definitely look for companies that I'm interested in working in, but I don't think I would go to just any kind of place now. But that's also because I've been smart financially and I have a good cushion and whatnot. And I really do enjoy being a content creator and creating technical content. And the projects I would make and make videos on and open source for people to learn from would be insane. I just can't now because I have a full-time job, right? I'd probably go in. I would have the same worries about I've been laid off and I don't work at big tech anymore. But I wouldn't let any of that stop me from just getting back to work and doing. Plus, a lot of people have told me that I'm very employable. At this point, if I left, I could probably get hired at another place pretty easy.
I would say.
I don't really know how I feel about that statement, but it's an opinion friends have had of me.
So the way I see that statement is, the fact that you say that you would only look at places that you find interesting to look for a job rather than, let's say if it was, I don't know, somewhere in the past where I know I have been desperate to get a job. Dude. Could be anything. Could be anything.
I would work anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially those early, especially before, I would say even after my sysadmin gig, before getting the promotion to cloud engineer, I was I would work anywhere. I would, and for any kind of money. I just need a job. It's different now, of course.
Yeah, and I think the fact, I'm on the same page where, I know I have a really good circle
Yeah, yeah.
like a professional circle, and I know what those people are working for or working at.
Yeah.
And I will be only interested in those. But then also, we have all these amazing projects and ideas that are in place, which we
Oh,
could
I
go
would
all
go
in.
in.
We
I
could
would
all
go
go all
all
in.
in
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, I would get because with the savings and stuff, I could afford to like have a couple of months of just figuring stuff out. I would go. Oh, YouTube videos every single day, live streams every single day, multiple podcast episodes a week.
Yep.
Projects every single month, stuff like that would be insane. I kind of want to quit now to just no. I'm just
So people know if you see a podcast episode every day, it's a
'cause I got
sign
fired.
that it's a sign that Rishab or Gwen got laid off and they're going all in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But anyway, two other these are quicker ones, news things that I find interesting. Apple's returning back to office 3 days a week. Like you have to go into the office 3 days, but depending on the team, you get to pick. Like each team gets to pick which days they come in. And I
But
think
it's
this is
team
effective.
specific and not
Yeah.
person. Okay.
Yeah, team specific because they have to figure out like which days work best for the team and whatnot. How do you feel if you were to be told to like? But your job is full remote, right? You're never going to be asked to go into some place.
No, yeah, I was hired. So it says on my contract, it says on a lot of legal documents that I'm a remote employee. So if that
you
has
would
to
never be asked that.
change, I guess I'll just for me, I've been kind of open to going into like a workspace and work from there. For me, it would be you pay my relocation and stuff, and I'm more than happy to come into the office.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about this the other day. Where like you and I are some of the most unbothered employees ever. Like we're like, travel's cut. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, these extra things that you usually get are cut. All right, cool. Oh, you need us to come back in the office. All right, cool. Like as long as we get paid what we deserve to get paid, I feel like we're just like, all right, cool. We'll figure it out, kind of thing. I'm the same. Like we at Microsoft we get to like pick like it's like a percentage of how often you feel like you're going to be in the office, and even that doesn't mean like you have to follow that exactly.
Like it's a hard written rule. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you say you're going to be in the office 20% of your time and then 80% remote, then that's sort of like the guideline that you're establishing. Your manager does have to like approve that and whatnot. So I put mine 80% remote, 20% in office, which is why I tend to go to the office like once a week. And which is why I decided to stay in New York so I could still commute to the office. And as y'all seen in our vlogs, it's a pretty easy commute to the office. I wouldn't have a problem if I was told to go back. Yeah. But then again, we're in the position that we're in. We don't have kids. We don't have like pets that take our time and anything like that. So kind of getting to an office isn't a big deal.
Yeah, I guess it would change over time.
If you had kids or something like that, that'd be different.
Or you moved out, you bought a house like really far from the city, and you love your house now with a that would change things.
Yeah, but then I would probably look for a gig that would allow me to be remote.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing my current gig to be remote. Right. See, yeah. But anyway, last thing here, I saw that it looks like Google might be starting their engineering hiring again. Not all teams, not all roles, but which I think is interesting. I don't think this is a sign like that things are turning or anything like that. But I saw a couple of people who were sort of like in the pipeline. It looks like there's certain interviews are moving forward and whatnot. So I think that's interesting. It's good to hear.
Yeah, I saw a few blind posts, where they're like, oh, I finally
every episode they get mentioned.
I finally hear back from, my recruiter after like 2 weeks of complete silence on, okay, your package has been sent to, the hiring committee to evaluate, and we'll have some answer for you. So it's good. It's good because, interviewing at big tech it's tedious. It's, stressful. It's also a lot. You prepare. You prepare
to hear
the time you put in through the loop, like the entire interview process. There's energy. Sometimes there's family that's, also invested in this. So there's a lot of things that go into this, and finally hearing back about, what the decision would be is a good sign.
Yeah. Dude, what would you do if you were interviewing and then you were just put on a freeze and you were told like, oh, we don't have any information to give to you?
I don't want to like even think hypothetically what would happen. I would have gone crazy. We would be on a live stream, and would be name dropping and bashing people, and be like,
Yeah, because it's like nothing. I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but
yeah,
it's like it's out of our control, of course.
mhm.
But I don't know. Would you think like you would go and interview at other places that weren't on a freeze, or would you hold out for a little bit, or what? What do you think your move would be?
Again, I think things would have been different in the past. Right
Yeah.
now, as we said, we're at a place where I know, like, if I want to move from Twilio, which I'm saying I don't want to right now, but if I move in the future from Twilio, I know where I want to go, and kind of have those companies in mind. I know which people I am looking forward to work with, and it will be specific to that. Even if they're on hiring freeze, I don't care. I'll still shoot my shot. Don't get it,
Yeah.
fine. I'll keep.
Shoot your shot, people.
Yeah.
That's great advice for everything in life. Shoot
Mhm.
your shot. Yeah, I think. Yeah, same with me. If it was back in the couple years ago, I probably would be interviewing everywhere. Like
Yeah.
if I was put on a freeze somewhere, I'd go somewhere else
Mhm.
and like just do as much as I can. Now I'd probably be like, all right, we'll see how it works out, kind of thing. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
because I
all
think
the
that,
news I want to cover.
yeah, a lot of time goes into it, and then we, as you said, you have like other kind of aspects of life that you could focus this time towards. So
Mhm.
I think that changes a lot of things. But yeah, that was the
Cool.
news section, which
News.
we are naming this week in tech news. We kind of care about. It's really specific.
We should get a
but I
jingle.
love- Yeah.
We should get a jingle. Yeah. All right. Now moving on to our main
Mhm.
discussion, which I don't know how much of a main discussion it's going to be because I feel like every topic, every kind of segment that we have is kind of like a main discussion. But anyway, we want to talk about DevRel. We get asked a lot about DevRel. What is DevRel? Why did you want to do it? How, like, what do you actually do? What do you want to do after it? All that kind of stuff. So we can start by defining it. If you want to go first, what is your definition of DevRel?
So far, being in it for 4 months, I feel like it's about meeting developers, whether it be virtually, being present for them, listening to their feedback or resources that they are looking for the specific product or company that you work for, finding out, how, like the entire developer community is using your product, and seeing where the gap is when it comes to technical content, documentation, things that could be improved for the developer experience, and providing that feedback to the product teams, and yourself working on the technical content in different aspects. Because I've worked on blog posts and videos, and then attending conferences, showing the power of Twilio at different hackathons and conferences. Whereas I know some veteran evangelists who are really tied to the product, like a specific product where they know they're the experts and they produce content, but they also are working with the product team to get the docs out, helping provide the feedback that they get from the community back to the product. So yeah, I think that's my kind of definition so far of DevRel. How about you?
You answered a couple of things there. You've been in DevRel for 4 months, which is going to be my next question, and then you can find it. I've been in. And then you said your role too, right? Developer evangelist.
Yes.
Staff developer evangelist. And this is the reason I bring this up is because the roles are different everywhere. I feel
Yes.
like so anyway, I am a cloud developer advocate. I've been doing advocacy at Microsoft for over a year now. I think it's been like a year and 2 months, something like that. Oh
Yeah.
I'm gonna cough. Wait, now my throat is itchy. Hold on. All right, goodness. Cloud developer advocate at Microsoft. 16 months, 14 months. No, 14 months.
Yeah.
June, July, August, 15. And I define DevRel as just building community around some sort of product. At Microsoft, we have so many, and we can dive a little bit more into how DevRel works here. But yeah, that's kind of like my short and sweet definition. Do you want to explain a little bit how DevRel works or advocacy works at Twilio? Do you use DevRel or advocacy there?
DevNet. So I'll go
Okay.
into some detail here. So there's a huge organization called DevNet, which is
Mm-hmm.
under go-to marketing. Um, and I think that's how, there are different aspects of how teams differ, because I know at certain companies, the advocacy or DevRel falls under, product or
Mm-hmm.
engineering, and then
Mm-hmm.
in certain companies it's under marketing. So, and I've also seen smaller companies where it's a totally different org. So you have a developer relations organization, which is,
Yeah, on its own.
good. Yeah. But yeah, for Twilio, it's go to marketing, and then you have different teams under it. So we have developer evangelists. So they are basically, your public facing
Mm-hmm.
advocates or evangelists who are at conferences, or you see them at, hackathons, you see them on YouTube, you see them on blog posts and stuff. And then there are developer educators. So there are two teams here. One is, internal, and then one is external. So
Mm-hmm.
they have some internal programs that are going. And then you also have developer advocates who, are creating content for the YouTube channel, where they're more so focused on the developer community than Twilio,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. So that's how it works in Twilio. And then there are other teams. There's also Twilio education team, which is, which manages the field operators program, similar to Microsoft Student Ambassadors or GitHub Campus Experts.
Field
Um,
operators.
yeah. So Twilio has field operators. And so, yeah, the Twilio education team is responsible for that program. And then you also have another team. They manage Twilio champions. So it's
Cool.
basically,
MVPs.
AWS. Yeah, MVPs, AWS community. So similar, champion or community program where developers can show that they're Twilio experts.
Mm.
So yeah, these are a few different teams that fall under DevNet, which is, again, as I said, is under go-to marketing. How about, cloud advocacy and Microsoft?
All right. So advocacy at Microsoft, we all fall under engineering. I think our org is called Cloud and AI, and then we have teams
Mm-hmm.
structured differently under there. Um, there's kind of three areas: building community,
Mm-hmm.
so community events and stuff like that; product feedback, working with customers and whatnot; and then creating content. So
Okay,
depending on which team you're on, you'll do more of one area.
I
But
see.
those are the three pillars. But you'll do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's just that you pick what is,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
aligned to you. Yeah.
Your team will have different OKRs and whatnot that will help fulfill certain of few of those pillars and whatnot. But then your audience will be different too. So I'm a regional
Mm.
cloud advocate. Our goal, we are more focused on building community,
Yeah.
events, workshops, and stuff like that, and we're a little bit more focused on career changers, students, startups, and overall like new developers and whatnot.
I see.
But there are also advocacy teams that are focused specifically on tech. So
Mhm.
there's like a .NET team, there's a cloud native team, Linux team, all these kinds of things. That's pretty much how we break it down. We all do very similar things. It's just our audience and our focus are a little different.
Mm. Cool.
Pretty
Cool.
much it. Mhm.
Yeah. So the next question we have is, what do you like about DevRel?
I like that I don't have to work on the same thing for my entire time. Like I felt like that was what was boring. Cloud engineering was it was just one project and one kind of thing. That I
For
was just kinda
longer
working.
times? Yeah.
DevRel, the product that I'm working on will change every month.
True.
Mm.
So you have that, kind of flexibility, but also, things that can change in a shorter time rather than you working on,
Yeah.
a big project where it would take, few months or years to build.
And that's what I like and dislike. So it answers
Yeah.
the next question too. Yeah. What about you?
Um, why do I like DevRel? My answer could be as stupid as travel, but no,
Wow.
it's more. I think it's about community for me, because, I remember my times when I was in help desk and then moved to cloud. I was still really. I didn't have much exposure to
Mhm.
how you can build this amazing online presence. You can meet all these amazing developers around the world and learn more, and, like, can be exposed to all these different technologies and be supportive at the same time. So
Mhm.
having that sense of belongingness is what I like about DevRel. Is it pushes me to go out and be active in the community, have empathy towards others and learn a lot of new things from others, which again is I'm a huge advocate of upskilling
Yeah.
and finding anything interesting. Dislike, I would say, is sometimes it can be too much. I expressed this when I was in person with Gwen,
Mhm.
is that for me, kind of like I'm used to travel, but not if it's constant travel back to back.
It's a
um
lot.
it's kind of a lot for me because I like to have a schedule. I like to have a day where
Mhm.
I have my morning coffee by a certain time, sit on my desk, have my setup. So things like that. I know it may sound like I'm complaining, but it's one thing that it'll take some time for me to get used to, or I might just end up disliking it for my
Some of us
entire.
just don't want to travel. That's it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I want to travel it, but it could be once in 2 months or 3 months, and that's it. I don't want it back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to
Figure out.
figure out and
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
dislike right now. Yeah. Um,
Very cool.
what's
Very cool.
your day to day
What
like?
day to day? Lately it's a lot of coding, but because in terms of like the product stuff, I'm helping out with the developer CLI that people know about,
Hmm.
and then just organizing events and stuff like that. Like today I had a meeting on Spanish talk show that's called Es Viernes, that we interview people in the Latam tech community.
Nice.
That we did season 1, and then we're going to start up season 2. Meeting on Ignite events. Ignite is
Oh
coming up
yeah,
in
Ignite is
October.
coming up.
Meeting on .NET conference events. And while this whole week executing on Serverless September.
You're
So
busy.
that's been my week. And then also YouTube and podcast and being a human being. So
And
and
dealing
students
with sickness.
and being sick, and the student summit. I forgot about that. If you're a
Oh
student,
yeah,
be sure to check that out.
that's a great
Yeah,
event if you're a student.
definitely check
As
that.
we were talking about exposure and the community aspect of just tech in general. It's we
Hmm.
sometimes get too much concentrated on the tech and like
Yeah,
being the best coder or being the best cloud engineer, that we forget about that we are all in this together, and
yeah.
it's in
It's
the end
about.
we are all humans.
It's also about not just what you know, but who you know.
I think
Connections matter.
that's
Rapport matters. Relationships matter.
yeah, that's how I am where I am right now. I won't say my technical skills technical skills would have gotten me a few promotions, but where I am right now, it's more based on my soft skills
Yeah,
and people I knew over the
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Cool.
Student summit's gonna be great. There's gonna be workshops, panels,
Hmm.
bunch of cool things. So be sure if you're students, be sure to check that out.
Awesome.
What's your day to day look like?
Right now I'm preparing for the Boston Superclass. As I was saying, this is my first Superclass, so I have
Cool.
to kind of get to know what Superclass is all about and demo that I would be presenting. I'm also working on a blog post. So I did a lightning talk at the Microsoft Reactor
Mm-hmm.
in New York. So I did a demo with GitHub Actions. So that's what I'm preparing a blog post about. So
Cool.
that's in works. And then I also have another kind of project that I'm building with video, which I think I'll showcase it on my YouTube, but also maybe have a blog post, which would again, increase brand awareness. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on. And then there are two kind of events that we are kind of deciding if, Twilio wants to sponsor or they don't want to sponsor. So some decision making and, researching of those events. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my day to day right now. It
That's another
changes.
big difference in advocacy everywhere, and then even within Microsoft or within your own company. Like your focus is more in-person events and blog and like writing, technical writing.
Yeah.
Where I'm strictly video.
Mhm.
Like I don't think I've done. I mean, besides like the coding, the programming stuff that I do,
Mhm.
I don't think I've done any. I haven't done any blog stuff But because that's my preference, like there's definitely,
Yeah.
you can do that if you want to. You can have deliverables that are text, but for me, I'm like, I work great in video. I don't want to do anything else.
Same
other
here.
than
Like, yeah, there
video.
we do have a Twilio developers, YouTube channel. They're more than happy to have us. It's just, I'm like, I do video. I'm gonna keep doing it for my own YouTube, and I'll probably dive into a bit more once I'm familiar with the product enough and I have some cool ideas for videos. But for now, yeah, blogs. I love writing, so blogs are my go-to, and being present physical, like on physical events, it's also something that is required for the role. So yeah.
I don't really care about in-person stuff. Like I like the networking, like the relaunch that we do, but outside of that, I don't really. But maybe it's because I don't like traveling for work. I like traveling for non-work. But
I know. I got to know that.
It's such a pain. Yeah. We talked about this.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What's next after DevRel for you?
That's funny because I have a meeting today to talk about.
Oh my God.
What it's like to be a solution architect. I remember I said this a couple weeks ago that.
Yeah.
On Instagram, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm like the most random person on there in terms of like, I won't just post about tech. I'll post about anything I want. But I remember one day I was like, I think after DevRel, I want to get into architecture, cloud architecture. And then a colleague, when I say colleague, I just mean that they work at Microsoft as well, reached out and was like, hey, like my team would love to have you.
Yep.
So then reached out again later today, and we're going to have a conversation just about the role. Just I'm not making moves. No one worry. There's manager, if you watch this, I don't know if you do, don't worry about this. It's just about to talk about the role, just to see more about what this person does, like what your day-to-day, all that kind of thing. But I tell you all this to mention, like I really do think solution architecting is what I want to do after DevRel. I want to go back strictly into like an engineering.
Yep.
There is a lot of engineering to DevRel. It's just like, the deliverable is different, the scope is different, and all the kind of
the focus is different.
Yeah, and also I think the reality is that I will never stop at doing advocacy because I will always have YouTube. I will always have this podcast. Always have like Learn to Cloud. Like even if I'm not an advocate in my day to day, it's still stuff that I'm never gonna stop doing. Yeah, I'm an advocate for life. Yeah. So and I just think like if I go back into engineering and where like content isn't like something that I need to do for my day job, I could do probably so much more. I'll have so much more energy, so many more ideas that I could do for my own channel and stuff like that. But I think I don't know in how many years that would happen. I don't really have a timeline or anything like that, but I definitely think that that's what's next for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think I relate to a lot of you. What's just like what you said is, you can already see me hating travel, and also like I'm kind of miss my DevOps days because, I would dive deep into if there's an issue or if there is a, challenge that I'm facing with one of the solutions. I would, really go deep in. If there is new technology that, company wants to pivot to, you research that, you learn about it, you master it so that you are able to use it in your day-to-day. So just the engineering aspect of things, I think that's what I miss. Whereas I'm not saying, DevRel is not engineering. Like like I still code. I was coding yesterday. But, the focus is different. It's more about, you presenting a demo or, you writing a blog post. Whereas with, hardcore engineering roles, it's more about the product itself. You're building, a big picture product. And I think for me, it's also going to be engineering. I just don't know, like you have probably a specific role in mind and you'll know more once you, talk and learn about this role. I don't have a specific role right now in mind, but it'll be, either cloud engineer or DevOps or, solutions architect. Could be SRE, yeah. Could be SRE. So I kind of don't know where I want to go right now, but that is, I think, where I will be in few years. But yeah, I think we kind of share the same experiences and same feelings when it comes to what's next.
Cool. So that was our little brief conversation on DevRel. We might be able to do a whole another episode where it's more specific questions.
Yeah.
But we've covered a lot in this episode. I want to move into community questions and shout outs because we have some good stuff in here. Here's an interesting question from YouTube. Shiloh asks, is there any job at this point in your career that you would take a pay cut for? Me? No. I don't think there would be a job that's a good move for me that would pay me less. Unless I wanted to get out of tech, then yes. But in tech, no.
Okay. I think that's a pretty good answer. Yeah, no, I'm not taking pay cut.
No.
Could be other way around where, we have a financial situation where I need more money and I could have picked a job that I don't want, which pays more.
Yeah. I could see that. But yeah.
I know where I come from, so no, I'm not taking a pay cut.
No, definitely not. But anyway, that's an answer to that one. Event shout out. I know you put this in here.
Yes.
But here is a hackathon. You want to share about it?
Sure. Yeah. So AWS Amplify, along with the hackathon or Hashnode, are doing a hackathon where they have specific rules, so you can go check it out. It's on Hashnode. We'll link it down below. Basically, you build a project. So this might be something that you can showcase on your GitHub and on your resume if you're trying to get into cloud. And there are also some prizes if you're curious on what you'll get. But I would highly recommend, even if you don't win the hackathon, you'll still have a solid project that you can showcase along with other projects that we have been talking about, like Cloud Resume Challenge and then Serverless September playlist that Gwen talked about. But yeah, that's the event shout out that's going on right now.
Sweet. Yeah, give that a shot. It's always good to just get hands on, and you'll get like social media support and shout outs and whatnot. Content shout out: Jay Miller, senior cloud developer advocate at Microsoft, has a big focus on Python, super supportive. That's the homie there. Blog post on building a wildfire detection app with timer triggers and Cosmos DB, part of the Serverless September 30 days rollout. It's great if you're a Python and you want to get serverless on Azure using fast functions as a service, which is our Azure Functions product.
Nice.
Give that a look out. It's a pretty fun project too. It looks like a neat idea and whatnot. So I will have that linked. And the last thing I want to do is Discord shout out. I'm starting to do this thing where I ask daily questions. I literally started today.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that in order to get to shout out community members from our Discord. Discord.learntocloud.guide if you want to join our Discord. We're in there. But I asked today what your first role in tech was, and then we had Jeremy who told us business analyst on a PM team, Muti that told us IT assistant for city government, which I thought was interesting, Big Al who started in tech support, John Wang who started in application support for a yearbook software, and Kids a Legend who started at Geek Squad. So I started at Apple Store, which is the Genius Bar, which is similar to Geek Squad. So yeah, so shout out to the Discord, and thank you all for leaving comments and whatnot on YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for this episode. A little bit tight on schedule. I got to hop to another meeting, but
yeah,
that's it. We'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.